We're trying to compare the health resiliency of two traditional African American communities here in Houston, Texas. Both are historical African American communities that have individuals of low income, and so just trying to see what the differences is and the similarities are in terms of health resiliency and community efficacy.
We were interested in why two neighborhoods in Houston that look very similar on paper in terms of demographics and poverty statistics were actually quite different in person. They're different when you visit them, they look different, the infrastructure is different, the types of homes are different, the availability of retail and businesses are different, and we had some ideas about why that might be, and that this project would allow us to try and investigate why those differences might exist between the neighborhoods. We conducted a survey in the Sunnyside neighborhood in particular, which was a clustered random sample survey. We ended up with really interesting data that we can compare from Sunnyside to the third ward data, which Quianta had collected previously for a different project.
It's about a 40-minute survey. And so we ask questions, even to the point of what would you like to see in your neighborhood? You're unemployed? Well, why are you unemployed? If you were to become employed again, what type of industry would you like to be in?
We've really focused on trying to organize some community members to be a part of our community advisory board. And those individuals were with us at the beginning of the process in terms of determining which questions we're going to go on to the survey, helping us identify our community researchers going to be employed to go out and facilitate the surveys and asking the questions of the residents, helping us with determining what it is that they felt like we needed to address and analyze once we've actually gotten the data.
We had a big community event in May, and it also included several elected officials and people from elected official staffs. And so we're going to be able to continue talking to those people and potentially shaping some policy decisions along that front. So that was another way that we were able to engage the community.
The word equity has come up quite a bit. So I think long term is to make sure that there are resources available where people are having equal access to opportunities to reach their full potential. And some of that is because the resources aren't there and the resources are not equitable. And so just making sure that the resources are there.
Our hope is that people use this data to make decisions, right? And that it empowers the community to be able to shape their own narrative instead of allowing others to dictate the narrative for their community.
One of the things that was brought up a lot at our community advisory board meetings was fear of crime and violence in the neighborhood. And to a certain degree, those stories get sensationalized by our local news media like they do everywhere, which gives Sunnyside a bad name, which I don't think is deserved after all the work we've done in the neighborhood and everything we've seen as far as all the good things that are going on there. So I would like to see that media narrative change, and to the extent that our project can be part of that, I think that would be terrific.
We ended up being part of IRL during the current environment where science and data is being questioned. And I think that being a research leader does mean not always going for the easy publication, really thinking about the consequences of publications, the consequences of how data is being used, even thinking about the questions that you're asking, how you're asking them. There's quite a bit of bias that even goes into what questions are being asked and which ones aren't being asked. And so I think part of research leadership is really understanding that each of us plays a role in this, and we each have a responsibility to ensuring that we produce high quality work.
In a culture of health, I see communities where there is affordable quality housing.
In a culture of health, I see a community where people are not afraid to go out and walk and play and go to the grocery store and go to church.
In a culture of health, I see every decision maker, every policy maker, every funder thinking about the health impacts of their decisions. Because all of these factors are, they interplay with one another. And currently, decisions are made in vacuums, silos. And so in a culture of health, I just see health really permeating every field and discipline.